Hi, ladies and gents. My name is Thom Gibson, and today we are going to be talking about 3 ways that you can avoid angry parent emails. I will start by saying that sometimes you cannot avoid angry parent emails, but these 3 tips are things that I have done actively in the last few years of my teaching, which have really limited the amount of emails that I get of parents that were frustrated that they either weren't in the know or frustrated with what was going on in class or frustrated with the decision that I was making about something. So hopefully utilizing these tips will at least lower the likelihood of receiving an angry parent email. Tip number 1 is to be proactive and not reactive. The way that I actually do this in my class is if we have a big assessment coming up in about a week, I'll send an email to both the parents and the students and say, just a reminder, you guys have a big test coming up next Tuesday. Here's the link to the review that we worked on in class. I also have office hours this Wednesday and Thursday during lunch, so please reach out if you'd like some assistance or would just like a quiet place to study. Let me know if you have any questions. And so I send the email to both the students and the parents, and I address it to the student. This is probably more appropriate for 6th grade and up. The reason I address it to the student is because I want to communicate that this is the student's responsibility. I'm including the parents so they're a little bit more equipped to keep the child accountable. I'm not addressing it to the parents as if it's their responsibility to get their kids to study. You probably have a class calendar or a class website that has all this information, but sometimes it's just another way of communicating to parents and sending that information directly to their inbox without them having to go check for it. Because I don't have kids, but I imagine trying to keep track of all 7 or 8 or 9 of your kids' classes can be challenging. So an occasional email about what's coming up pretty soon at least gets rid of the excuse that they didn't know about it. Another way that I'll work to be proactive is if a student is failing or has a pretty low grade a few weeks before the end of a marking period, I will send an email out to the student. I will CC the parents and the advisor on that email, and I'll be very objective in this email and carry a positive tone. A lot of times I'll say, hey there, Team Johnny. I wanted to let you know that currently your grade in math class is a 64. You're currently missing these 4 assignments. These first 2, unfortunately, are unable to be reassessed, but you can turn the 3rd assignment in before next Tuesday. Here's a link to the instructions if you'd like to work on that. I also have office hours this Wednesday and Thursday during lunch if you'd like some guidance. And the 4th missing assignment was actually due today, so you can still nearly get full credit if you turn it in tomorrow. Don't forget, we do have a test coming up next Thursday, and doing well on that can significantly bring your grade up. Let me know what I can do to help you complete these assignments. Thanks so much. These are easier to send if you're going to send them to all the students that have kind of lower grades. So that way, if there's commonly missed assignments or tests where you don't have to retype out, if you would like to redo this assignment, do this, then this, then this, but instead can copy and paste that element into those emails. Just make sure if you're copying and pasting any parts of emails that you're not including any names or even saying like he, she, or anything like that, because that would be weird if it ended up going to the wrong person. And so being proactive and sending these out a little bit earlier and ahead of time helps keep me from getting reactive to parents who are saying, what is going on with my child? They're failing. I had no idea what's going on with this assignment. And I'm kind of getting ahead of all of that. Again, you might still get some of those emails, but hopefully this will minimize the amount of emails that you get like that. The second thing you can do to avoid getting angry parent emails is to send positive and encouraging notes home, particularly to students who generally don't receive positive or encouraging notes. Again, I like to address this one to the student, but CC the parents and the advisor and acknowledge what I saw in the student. And I try to be very specific. Hey, Jason, I just wanted to drop a line and say I really appreciated how engaged you were in class today. You were asking a ton of questions. You really seemed to be making a lot of connections, and you were working really well with your partner during the group work. Just wanted to say that I saw that. I appreciate that. Keep up the good work. Avoid using any language like you were so much more focused today than you normally are, because you are kind of diminishing the positive acknowledgement with like, yeah, but really you're kind of a jerk all the time. You don't need to remind them of what they normally act like, particularly if they're not getting positive notes all the time. This has to be genuine for it to be meaningful, and the more specific you can be, the better. But if you're working with a challenging student, even just trying to find any part of the day where you can give a positive acknowledgement can go a long way. And including parents in that communicates to your parents that you're not out to get their kid, but you really want to support them and you really want to see them succeed. The third way that'll help minimize an angry parent email is carefully crafting the emails about inappropriate behavior in the classroom. First and foremost, do not write these emails when you are upset. Secondly, this is the only email that I do send to the parents, but I do include the student in on it because I want them to be clear about what I'm communicating to parents and that we're all in this together. I will almost always try to have a conversation with the student and talk to them about why their behavior was inappropriate, but I'll also let them know, hey, I'm going to be emailing your parents about this conversation that we had so they can be in the loop on this as well. I don't want it to be a surprise. And with these emails, I try to keep them as objective as possible, and I try to carry a tone of still wanting to see the student succeed. And so my behavior notes sound a little bit something like this. Hey there, Team Jasmine. I just wanted to reach out about a conversation that I had with Jasmine after class today. During During pre-algebra, students were working on a project, and while Jasmine was advocating for herself and asking questions when she was stuck, she had difficulty remaining on task whenever I was working with another student. During class, when students needed help, they wrote their names on the board and what they needed help with. That way I could help them in the order that they asked for help in. Jasmine twice got up to erase names or change names in an effort to be silly, even after being redirected not to do so. After the third time of erasing names, I had a conversation with her in the hallway about how her behavior was disrupting herself and disrupting her peers from getting the work done that they need to get done. She said she understood. She returned to class and worked quietly for about 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, Jasmine got up and started playing with the computer screen of another student who had already asked her to stop. Jasmine was then asked to work outside and finish her assignment in the hall. I spoke with Jasmine again after class and let her know that she would be receiving a referral for her behavior. She said she understood and that she's going to try to do better. Please let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything I can do to help support Jasmine in creating an environment that both she and her classmates can be successful. Thank you so much. And so try to be as objective as you can and carry a tone that you do want to see the child succeed, and don't write when you're frustrated. And so those are 3 things that you can do to hopefully minimize angry parent emails. Be proactive, not reactive. Send positive notes home for students who generally don't receive many positive notes home. And be mindful when crafting a note about inappropriate behavior in the class. If you have any other tips that you use to develop positive relationships with the parents of your students, let me know in the comments down below. My name is Thom Gibson. If you'd like to stay in the loop with upcoming videos, which include teaching tips and vlogs from my classroom, which include robotics stuff as well as math stuff and esports stuff, then consider subscribing. I also have a podcast called Stories from the Classroom. This YouTube channel is kind of showing my classroom and giving my tips, whereas the podcast Stories from the Classroom is where I am talking to other educators and putting together these audio documentaries of the really amazing things that are going on in some other people's classrooms. You can find Stories from the Classroom wherever podcasts are available. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.